Death Stranding, a Strand-type game. Kojima patented the term back when the game released and never cared to explain what it means, just slapped it in there. Well, what does it really mean? What is a Strand-type game? The best Kojima could do to explain was to say, it is a collective experience where players can affect other players or something along those lines. MMOs fall under the same description. Sort of. So what really is a Strand-type game? To put it simply, it's a type of game where your actions can affect the environment and events for another person's single-player experience. Basically, you act as an NPC for another person's world. Your actions are in-game events for another person's world. I'm sure Kojima thought of the same but couldn't quantize it and pin it down. He's a film director, not a video game designer. Come on, cut him some slack. This pseudo-definition is accurate and can be verified by both the proto-Strand game, MGS5, and the actual Strand game, Death Stranding. MGS5 Online had optional single-player content where the collective player base could surrender their nukes to trigger a cutscene, thereby participating in an event which is part of the game's narrative and experience. One could even say, canon. In Death Stranding, players could place items all over the game world which serve as landmarks, guides, resources, whatever to other players, making those structures part of the game's environment. So, this is a Strand-type game, and you're not alone in thinking this is a bit pretentious for a game with what is essentially shared multiplayer. It might feel a bit cool and unique, but again, pretentious. I'm sure a number of you will have a nagging feeling at this point. Have I seen this before? I feel like I have. Where have I seen this before? Well, my friends and comrades, the answer to that is yes, you have. Technically, this patent isn't just pretentious. It probably constitutes theft if you were to classify mechanics as IP, protected by copyright. Kojima, in his infinite wisdom, thought he came up with something original. Well, what can you expect from a film director in video game world? Now coming to Dark Souls. Dark Souls probably did establish what a Strand-type game is, even if the concept of collective multiplayer predates it, hearkening back to the days of the MMOs. Dark Souls' unique spin on multiplayer was to integrate it with the single player, what the community has come to refer to as jolly cooperation. The Invasion and Covenant system treats other players as NPCs in the game world. They can be combated like PvE enemies. They can provide resources. They can help defeat bosses, couple other things, but the essential concept is still retained. They are other players who are NPCs within the player's world, being able to alter in-game events and environments in a single-player experience. The difference between this and the MMO model is that MMOs are always collective and never provided a single-player narrative experience. They were always meant to be a gauntlet of challenges served to groups of many players. The players were not NPCs, even if they retained some of the functions of a typical NPC. Nevertheless, MMOs could be seen as the Silurian fish, Dark Souls the dinosaur, and Death Stranding the Neanderthal. And despite all this, I will still vouch for Dark Souls being the best Strand-type game because the dinosaur is better than Ugg the Caveman. Dark Souls is the best everything, best game of all time award granted prematurely. To summarize, Kojima is a pretentious prick. Death Stranding sucks donkey dick. The Strand game is a very old concept, and Death Stranding unintentionally killed it by ruining it. Till next time.